Today we're talking about how to deal with that phone addiction. How's it going, guys? drtankpharmd here, board certified practicing medicine specialist and personal health coach, helping action takers like you take back control of their lives and emotional health. And although I am a practicing medicine specialist, I'm not your specialist. So if you have any questions regarding your condition, please see your doctor. Don't forget to click like and subscribe for the weekly videos. Let's get into it. Let me know if this has ever happened to you. You order some food and you want to wait for it because you didn't put an order ahead of time. You know it's going to be a while, so you don't want to be bored. And you automatically, instinctively grab your phone. Now, two things could happen. One is while you're browsing your phone, your order comes out. And that's great. It's quick, you get your order and you take it home. Second scenario is that you scroll through your social media feeds and you run out of new things. You check your email and everything. You're all up to date. And then you're bored again, and you're back where you started. In both scenarios, I didn't want to admit it, but I was terrified of being bored. Now, it's not boredom per se, but it's actually the fear of having to deal with the inner dialogue that speaks out when we're alone. That inner dialogue can be very negative and very powerful because it brings out your fears, your doubts, and all the things that you haven't dealt with in your life. Now, when your brain knows that there's fear and pain and doubt, it sees that as something to run away from, and it wants to avoid it at all costs. There are other factors at play here as well. One of which is that we're constantly being pulled in different directions by new things. These new things attract our attention, and when it grabs our attention, we can't let go. It's like a moth being attracted to a flame in the middle of the night. Now, there's a term for this called shiny object syndrome, where we see something shiny and we're instantly attracted. It's activated by the brain system known as the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system focuses our brain on what's new and exciting. And when our brain is being pulled in different directions, it's very easy to escape the boredom. Now, when the brain sees something new and exciting, it gets a hit of dopamine. And that dopamine makes us feel great. And that dopamine rush is what drives almost everyone in the world. But shortly after, maybe even immediately, there's a steep decline on how good it feels. And when that decline hits, we start craving the high that we got from the dopamine again. And the easiest way we succumb to it is by grabbing our phones. There's a Stanford article, and I'll link it down below. It talks about how scrolling social media on our phone is like being addicted to drugs. It calls it digital dopamine. So when we're bored with our regular life and we want to escape from it, we get digital dopamine by just scrolling on our phones. And the one way to treat addiction is to detox from it. This has massive social implications because our parents grew up not having these addictions. And because now almost everyone in the world has this problem, it means it's something that's been developed. And it wasn't something we were born with. If it's something developed though, that's a good thing because that means we could stop it. And it doesn't mean it's easy though. We have the smartest people in the world working at these companies. They might be aliens though. They're trying to get us addicted to stay on their platforms. Because if they control our attention, they can make money off of it. And they can make big money. That's why Super Bowl ads, which get tons of attention, can get paid $1 million a minute as opposed to local circulars. Where your attention is where control is. So if you know where your attention is, you're able to better control it. And if you don't pay attention, they're controlling you. And the real problem isn't just social medias and phone, because these platforms and this technology can change over the years. The real problem is the human psychology of it, and that will never change as long as there are humans. We have to deal with our addiction, and we have to confront it, because when we confront our addiction, that's when we take control back. Now, habits are the daily actions we take repeatedly. The thing about habits is that because there's something that we've developed, it's something we can take away and change. The problem here is that most people think that this phone addiction is just a one-sided problem and that it's just the phone. But if you break it down, it's actually two big problems. One is that there's a phone addiction, and two is that you're scared to be alone with your inner dialogue. The mistake most people make is that they think that this is just a one-pronged problem. There are actually two major problems at play here. There's the phone addiction, and there's also the fear of dealing with your inner dialogue alone. Most people just think it's just the phone addiction, and they address that. Now, to deal with the phone addiction though, you have to detox from it. And when you detox from it, your brain starts getting accustomed to the normal levels of dopamine again. You don't have to keep escalating and getting more dopamine to feel good. One of the easiest ways to detox from dopamine is to get into nature for an entire weekend. Because when you're in nature, you're able to get away from reception and get away from your phone. When you get back, you'll realize you're a little more refreshed. A little stressed because you have to catch up on things, but you'll feel detached from your phone. And that's a good thing because you've detoxed yourself from the dopamine you get from it. In addition, you want to get away from social media. And in order to do that, you have to get away from it for at least 3 weeks because you've built this habit. And 3 weeks is the minimum that it takes to develop a habit. When I was getting away from social media, I realized that I didn't need it, but I was feeling massive FOMO. I was wondering what people were doing, but I couldn't check because I couldn't see it. But in the end, you realize you don't need the social media. And the more important thing is, you realize who your friends are, because they're the ones who start reaching out to you outside of the social media platform. There's also the problem with our internal dialogue. Now, all of us have a positive and a negative inner dialogue. The negative inner dialogue, though, brings out our fears and our doubts. And if we listen to them, they get stronger. That's why people can't sit alone with their inner peace, because that negative dialogue is so strong. Now, the way you stop that inner dialogue that's negative is you increase the strength of your positive dialogue. You do it through affirmations, meditation, self-validation, or some of the tools of the Emotional RX program. I had a client who came to me with negative inner dialogue. And what's worse was that his parents criticized him constantly. So that negative dialogue was even stronger. After he worked with me in the Emotional RX program, with the tools that were provided, he was able to strengthen his self-confidence and feel better and live a stronger life. Once you find peace with your inner dialogue and you're less reliant on your phone, you have more power to control yourself. And if you have more power to control yourself, you're able to choose what you want to think and do with your life. What do you guys think? How are you controlling your phone addiction? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want more information in the Emotional RX program, click on the link down below as well. Until next time, guys, be healthy.